Now, being in the aquarium industry for nearly 30 years, one thing that you will find is that where you've got an alternative for Australian grown, Australian bred fish, always jump at that option. Because for fish to get to Australia, they need to go through sometimes quite harrowing experiences. Fish can be wild caught, then they need to adjust to aquarium life. They will be collected at a source or bred in a certain location, then often sent to often very simple third world facilities where they may get grouped. Then they may go to a exporter, then they may go to an importer, then they may even go to a different country all again. So various fish can change hands multiple times before you even get the fish. And during that time, they can often be in third world, overpopulated environments, fed on sometimes lower grade foods, and definitely they can be in very questionable water quality and situations, especially in some of the third world countries. So each time that these fish get moved, then usually they will not feed them for a period of time because they don't want the extra waste in the water while the fish are transporting. And when they do transport the fish, they have many fish in a tiny little bit of water to make the freight costs as economical as possible. Now, if you look at what's involved to get a fish out of various parts of Asia, for example, or from anywhere around the world, and get it to Australia, get it through quarantine and so forth, there is an amount of stress that the fish have to deal with, whether you like it or not. On the other hand, if you are able to get an Australian bred fish, then it is likely that that fish has experienced nowhere near the amount of stress, and it has probably been exposed to far less different lower quality conditions. So the chances are it has changed hands less times, and it is probably being kept in a much better environment, in a much better facility, by probably much more trained aquarists. So in some cases, you can actually have a farm or a breeder in Australia using high quality foods and kept in very high quality water, and then can go straight to a distributor or the store itself. So the number of times it can change hands can be as little as 1 or 2, as opposed to fish that come up from overseas, which can change hands many times. And the amount of time for the travel is often very low, and the shipping procedures and so forth, Australia always follows some of the best standards. So it is amazing, especially with fish like tetras. So if I buy Australian bred tetras, particularly if they're available, because a lot of the time it's actually very hard to get good supply of Australian bred stock. So if you can, really give the Australian stock a go. Even if you've got to pay more for it, it's really worth it, because you're getting fish that have likely not been exposed to anywhere near as much stress. They've probably not been starved as many times, and they have probably been kept in the highest of quality care. So anyway, feel free to comment with your experience. But if I can encourage anyone to buy Australian bred over imported, you would definitely want to consider it. I get much better results out of Australian stuff, and I'm happy to pay more because a dead fish is not a cheap fish. No matter how much you save money on the fish, if you lose extra of the fish, then you may as well have just paid more and got a better, healthier, stronger fish in the first place.